Today I'm reviewing the SKYESEV Gaming Desktop computer PC with AMD Ryzen 5 5600, RTX 3050 6GB, 32GB RAM and 1TB M.2. If you want to check current pricing or availability, it's linked below. I've spent real time using this system on my desk as both a daily driver and a gaming machine. That means productivity tasks, media, and games, not just looking at specs. Let's set expectations clearly. This isn't a high-end enthusiast rig that blasts ultra settings at 1440p or 4K with peak frame rates. If your goal is maxed out performance in every title, you'll want to step up in GPU and CPU class. What it's built for is solid 1080p gameplay and smooth everyday computing in a modestly priced desktop. With the Ryzen 5 5600 and RTX 3050 6GB, most modern titles run well at 1080p. Competitive games like Fortnite, CS:GO, Valorant, and Overwatch consistently hit comfortable frame rates on medium to high settings. Heavier AAA titles at high settings trend toward 45 to 60 FPS territory depending on optimization, which is sensible for this hardware tier and practical use. The included 32GB of RAM is generous for both gaming and multitasking. While many systems at this price come with 16GB, the extra headroom here keeps browser tabs, background apps, and creative tools from bottlenecking the experience. I didn't feel pressured to upgrade immediately after setup. Storage is straightforward and practical. The 1TB NVMe SSD loads Windows and large games quickly. In everyday use, app launches and level loads are snappy. There's space for a decent game library without hunting for external drives. Thermals and noise are areas worth mentioning. The ARGB fans help move air and keep temperatures stable under load, but they also mean noticeable fan noise during extended gaming sessions. On heavier workloads, the system runs warm, which, for a compact mid-tower design, isn't surprising. In my setup, it stayed stable, but if silence is a priority, external cooling tweaks or fan curve adjustments can help. Gaming cases with ARGB do add visual flair, but they don't improve performance. They're an aesthetic choice, not a functional one. If you prefer minimalist designs, the light show might feel like fluff rather than value. Connectivity was reliable. Wi-Fi performance stayed consistent during online matches and downloads. Ports were plentiful enough for peripherals without feeling limited. Now for limitations. The RTX 3050 6GB is capable, but VRAM does constrain settings in some newer titles at higher resolutions. You're not going to push ultra textures at 1440p with headroom to spare. And for workstation-heavy creative tasks or 3D rendering projects, the GPU and CPU combination will complete work, but not quickly compared with higher-tier alternatives. Compared to similarly priced pre-built systems, the SKYESEV leans hard into balanced specs rather than cutting corners on memory and storage. That practical generosity in RAM and SSD capacity shows in everyday responsiveness. If you compare this to bare-bones rigs with upgrade suggestions tacked on, this feels closer to a ready-to-go desktop. Where this machine makes sense, 1080p gaming without chasing max settings, users who value smooth multitasking, creators doing light editing or design work, people who want a complete desktop without immediate upgrades where it might not be ideal, high-res/ultra settings AAA gaming, demanding 3D production or render farms. Those who prefer ultra-quiet operation everyday use feels dependable. It never pretends to be top-tier power, and it doesn't disappoint where it's meant to perform. There's trade-off logic here, balanced performance and sensible specs at a price that won't stretch too far for mainstream buyers. Check current pricing below and evaluate it against your needs.